And it was the first time I ever coached against you. Obviously, you want your team to do well, you want to compete, but as an organization, like, I found myself rooting for your guys too. It was just like a weird dynamic. I've never been in that before, because usually, like, we're so competitive, you just want to beat the heck out of the other team.
Coach Steve, what are we going to talk about this week?
Yeah, guys, welcome back. We're coming off a long weekend of tournaments. I mean, up here in the Northeast, I feel like it's rained every single weekend. It's been rainy, it's been windy. Luckily, this past weekend we were on turf, so we got the games in. And I guess it was early Sunday morning we realized that we were going to be in the same playoff bracket. So we had the same game time, 4:30 p.m., and we're grinding it out. And you know, you always hope that two teams from the same organization can play each other. And it turned out that we did. We finally got that opportunity to face off. Duke coaches the 114U team, I coached the other one, and we got to compete against one another. Maybe let's start off, talk a little bit about your team this weekend and how you got to that position.
Yeah, so, 4:30 game time, got there at 3:30, started taking batting practice, kind of going over our game plan, who are we going to pitch, knowing that we might have 3 games, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal is that. We thought that the weekend before that. We packed all lunches, snacks, and we were knocked out in the first round. So my wife this time says, I'm not packing anything. I want to pretend like we're only playing one. And so we get into the first game, super tight game. I think it was 7-6. We won in the last inning. The boys finally turned the corner to where I was like, this is the team of old. Like, defense was great, pitching was great, timely hitting, and we then go into the second game. Now we're feeling it. We had another good pitcher on. I think we won by 5 or 6, so it wasn't as tight of a game. But I remember looking over, and our guys were constantly like, "Oh, did the elite win? Did Steve-O win?" And you know, as we were seeing that, we were getting more excited about it as we were winning and you were winning. So in the second game, our games were so close to each other that we could see the scoreboard. So when you guys came ahead, our guys started going crazy because we were already in the lead by quite a bit, and we were like, "Oh man, this is." And then your guys came running down off the hill and kind of got into near our dugout, and we're talking, and then our guys started getting all fired up. But I think that all the preparation over the last 3 weeks, the rundowns, the pickoffs, in the beginning we weren't executing those, but this weekend we were executing all of them, the first and thirds, the throwdowns. So it really was good to see the execution happen, and then for the guys to be like, oh wow, like our team is good, because the teams that we were playing were good, and we were just playing well. So I think that overall it was a good, fun weekend leading up to that, and then now it's nighttime. We're there for 7 hours, and then all of a sudden it's, the showdown. But so what was your weekend like?
Yeah, I mean, Saturday we played good baseball. It's tough because you go into every single game trying to win. But in this scenario, really however you did on Saturday just seeded you for Sunday, right? Everybody was going to play on Sunday. So, we threw one of our best arms on Saturday. Game 1, we won. Game 2, we ended up losing, a tight one. But we got there, same thing, 4:30, and of course it's raining. We're on turf. Every ball that hits the turf is soaked, so I got a towel in the dugout. I'm trying to dry off every single ball. We gave up 8 unanswered runs in the first inning before recording an out, and I think they got 1 hit. It was just walks and pass balls and error. Like, I almost packed my bag at the bottom of the first, saying like, all right, I guess we're not making a run in the playoffs. And the guys came off the field, and I just said to him, look, we don't have to score 9 runs this inning. It's the bottom of the first. Let's score 2. And we ended up scoring 2. And then the next inning, we scored 3. And, like, you started to feel that momentum shift. Like, the team we were playing really wasn't as good as us. We gave them 8 in the first just because, it was pouring out. The balls were soaked. I feel bad because our starting pitcher, I've now given him the ball 2 consecutive weekends in pouring rain, and he cannot get an out. It's like his foot's slipping on the turf mound. So whatever, long story short, we chip away. We finally take the lead 11-9 late. And then, the momentum started to pick up, and we played really good in game 2. I think our biggest struggle lately has been 2-strike approach. We're chasing, we're taking that fastball, a ball off the plate. So our guys were tougher with 2 strikes for sure. And then the same thing, we could see your scoreboard. The guys were so excited. They're like, man, if we win this, we get to play the other 14U team. And we get to that position, and now our game's not even starting until 10:40 at night.
At night, PM.
I look at Duke and I'm like, let's just take one big group picture. The trophy's coming back to the same place anyway. Like, let's just take a big group picture and call it co-champs. And the kids were not having it.
They were not having it.
I mean,
I was the same way. I'm like, even saying, I'm like, hey, Coach Steve and I were just talking. I think we're just gonna. And they're like, what? Like, it's like a bunch of sad puppy dogs, just kind of like. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's.
So we had to find a way to play. It's still drizzling out. It was still raining. We were the only people at the complex. I think we got off the field at midnight with no arms left. I think we were all like kind of pitcher by committee, just finding a way to scrap together a game. But then we got to take a big group picture after, and it was fun. It's tough and it was the first time I ever coached against you. Obviously, you want your team to do well. You want to compete. But as an organization, like, I found myself rooting for your guys too. It was just like a weird dynamic. I've never been in that before, because usually, like, we're so competitive, you just want to beat the heck out of the other team. But, like, Stevenson got up and hit that bases clearing double. I'm like, yes, like,
yeah, right. It's like you're rooting for each other. Even the kids were doing that, right? Like, I liked how they were heckling each other sometimes. Like, if a guy wasn't running it out full speed, or as soon as the guy would get hit, or the guys were like pulling for each other and kind of getting on each other like we do in practice. So I think it was hard to flip the switch in a way. It was like so gung ho, and then it was like everyone's done. It's like throwing the towel, fifth inning, like that's good.
It was funny because we got to like the fourth or fifth inning, and the kids, like, you could tell they were tapped out at that point. But I had told them, I guess it was the third inning, and they're playing with so much fire and so much energy in the rain at 11:30 at night. I'm like, how the heck don't you guys play like this all the time? If you can do this at 11 p.m. in the rain, late at night on the third game of the day, that means there's no excuse to not have energy game one on a Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. One of the questions that we got was, when did you guys realize that you were facing each other? And I think I already had mentioned it when we looked up at the scoreboard. We saw your guys taking the lead, and then your guys coming off coming down the hill. That was like so cool for our guys, because then your guys, half of them were in our dugout, half of them were on the fence, so it was almost like the team's almost gelled already, but yet trying to, like, wait, can we do this? Are we not supposed to do this? We're playing each other, but yet. So I think it's fun, practicing twice a week with all of our guys together. It was like our guys were like, oh, what are our new signs going to be, since they know our signs? I'm like, we still got to execute. Like, if we're stealing and they know we're stealing, they still have to throw us out, so I thought that was cool.
So, Duke, were there any mind games or specific things that you changed knowing you were coaching against me? It could have been signs, it could have been coaching strategies, but I know it can be tough sometimes when we're practicing together and we do everything together all the time with our teams.
I think that question it's more of just trying to put together and trying to do as good as we possibly could. I don't think there was anything that we were trying to do that you didn't know of, or vice versa. It was, hey, it's just like all the SEC teams. They've all had the same signs for the last 30 years probably. They all know everything about everybody, and it's just like, we have to execute, they have to execute. We have to make the plays, they have to make the plays. And whoever throws strikes and plays clean defense is going to win.
And that's 14U baseball. I mean, kids get themselves out at 14U. So if you can fill up the strike zone, I talked about the 8 runs we gave up. But I think it's interesting. Anytime you make a run in the playoffs, like, the kids start to play with a little bit of pressure. And we talk so often about the importance of putting pressure on the teams in practice to then free them up and just let them play in games. But I was watching, I don't know if you saw it, Arkansas LSU last night. Yes. Now, Arkansas is 0-5 against LSU at the College World Series. They're up 5-3, bottom 9, 1 out. Pitcher gives up a walk. Next kid gets base hit. They got first and second, 1 out. Ground ball to the shortstop, double play ball. Pops his feet and gets the force out at third. It was a good play, maybe if you're up 1 or if it's a tie game. But the double play ends the game.
Right.
So the whole broadcast team was like, I can't believe he didn't try to turn 2. It was our leadoff hitter. It was a fast runner. But he got the force out. So I know he got first and second, 2 outs. But you could see the defense tighten up. And I've been there before where I've made 3 errors in 1 inning in the championship of, when I was playing pro ball. It was like, you start, even at 23 years old, like, we're teaching these 14-year-olds not to play nervous, but we did. And now you're watching SEC baseball, like the best baseball players in the country. He got a little bit nervous. He got the force out. So first and second, 2 outs now. Cleanup hitter up. Hits a top spin fly ball to left field. The left fielder drop stepped, lost his footing, came in and dove for it, and it hit him on the shoulder, rolled all the way to the wall. 2 runs
Oh,
scored.
no.
They bring in like their stud righty out of the pen, and they were pitching with first base open at this point, and the kid hit a line drive base hit up the middle. Arkansas is now 0-6 against LSU. But you could just see the snowball effect of, one after the other, and I felt so bad. I mean, the kids were crying out on the field, but it just shows in those situations the pressure's real. That kid's probably caught 50,000 fly balls like that and never dropped one of them. The shortstops made that double play feed so many times, but just to talk about the pressure of playoff baseball, and the game's on the line, the season's on the line, so you can't really recreate that in practice, but putting pressure on your players in practice with a stopwatch, with inter-squad scrimmages, just to get them to feel that tension. That's the stuff they're going to have to go through. So I think we're doing a good job. Obviously not at the caliber the College World Series is, but putting pressure on our players in practice, right? There is only one way to play. There's only one way to run down the line, competing with 2 strikes, not giving away at bats. We do the stopwatch infield, outfield all the time. And then the exhibition games and scrimmages, I think, recreates that game-like atmosphere as much as possible.
Yeah, one of the questions on the sheet was, which team had the most energy? And I would have to say that your team had the most energy for the longest period of time. We had I think everybody had energy in the beginning, and then it was, I think we hit the ball in the screws about 3 times in your outfield, just scarfed them up. Right fielder Avery went and made a sick play, Rutherford, and it was like balls that we were hitting weren't falling, and the energy started to go like this, and you guys were getting hits, and then it just turned into both teams had high energy, and then we kind of died down, and you guys kept it up, and it showed it in the score as you guys were getting more and more runs. So I think that
that's a great question though, because I truly believe the teams that make the longest runs in any tournament are the toughest teams. Mm-hmm. The toughest teams that want it the most, that play with the most energy. Remember last year we were in Boston with our 18U group.
How
there was
fun
120
was that?
teams. We made it to the Final Four. We lost a 2-1 game, but those kids must have been exhausted for a week. I was.
Right.
You have to be locked in. You can't look past one game, and it's hard. And as they get older in college, you're not playing 4 games on a Sunday. You're not playing for 5 or 6 straight days. But I really think that the teams that can be mentally strong and be the toughest over the course of the weekend somehow win. I mean, we're talking about how good we did. We played each other in the championship this weekend. Last weekend it was raining out, and the other team was loving it. They're covered in mud. They're diving. They're like, this is baseball weather. And one of our kids in the dugout was like, Coach Steve, I think I just heard thunder. So, yeah, I mean, that's 14U baseball. One weekend's great, the other weekend's not.
Right.
So, it's all learning experiences. But, yeah, it's I think part of the problem with travel baseball is we always got next weekend. There's always next weekend. We got another tournament, right? But getting them to realize that the 8 weeks goes by so fast that before you know it, it's going to be football season. Let's make the most of the opportunity we have here. And when you get in the car on the way home, be exhausted. Right. Say you left it all out on the field. Don't just keep saying, well, yeah, we played bad, but we got another one next weekend.
It's one of the questions was, were there any unexpected moments throughout the weekend that you were just like, wow? And I'm trying to think if there's anything that was unexpected. I think that one of the things that was unexpected for some of the people is that we were going to be on the field for 8 hours and we didn't pack enough food. Guys were like we didn't have enough to eat or drink or anything like that, but there was I don't remember any plays. We did execute the first and third with the cut play. We executed it twice in the second game, which was huge. So that wasn't really unexpected. It was expected, but just something that stood out between things that we weren't really doing too well in the past. Sometimes we're overthrowing that, or guys aren't reading it right, but we actually read it right both times through the guy at home plate. It was game changer plays that I think that just us practicing certain things over and over again. We had a back pick with first and second with 2 outs. Marzulli was on the mound, and it was one of those plays where you felt the energy switching, but then all of a sudden he backdoor picked at first, and we're inning over, and we're just, again, things that you work on that you can use when you need them to really change the game. Yeah. Was there anything unexpected or anything that was just kind of
I would say our first game at 4:30. I mean, we went down 8-0. I told you it was raining, it was wet. But
we were watching that, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
What's going on down there?
We watched the 2 teams play before us, and all of our kids are like, man, we're going to smoke this. Whichever team wins, we're going to smoke them. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, no, we're getting smoked. So I saw the body language shift when we were on defense. I saw the pouting and the dropping of the shoulders, but I was proud of the way they bounced back. I was proud of the way that it was just like, let's chip away little by little. Obviously, you're not going to score 8 runs in an inning, but the way they competed, it was unexpected to go down 8-0 and spot them 8. But I think even after that inning, obviously, it was going to be a tough uphill climb, but I think I knew if we stayed engaged in the game over the course of the game, we're going to chip away and find a way to get back.
And I think it was so fun taking the picture at the end. At first, it's like so, you get the little medallion or whatever, and you're just like, it's second place. It was just but then you're thinking back, like, we've been on the field for 8.5 hours. Like, you know what? Take this as a memory of, like, we made it all the way to the championship. Yes, we lost, but even the picture, some of the guys were, like, not wanting to come over, like, oh, they won, like, let them. But then when they came over, it was just like, everybody was smiling. All around each other. So like you said before, it's hard to almost like change gears to be like, oh, buddy, when you're in that kind of competitive environment. Meanwhile, you're like, let's go, let's take a picture, and became fun again. So I think that's something for other coaches to learn is it is a game. They are friends. Like, let them have fun and play, and they're gonna remember that more at the end with the picture with everybody in there hanging out with, like, that's what they're gonna remember.
5 years from now, nobody's gonna remember who won that game, what the score was. None of it. It's not gonna matter. But anytime you're in a tournament, if you don't win, you're gonna go home pissed off. Right. So I think as coaches, when you're leaving the field and you can look back, like you just said, you're looking back on a good weekend. You won 2 good ball games, got to the championship. Of course, it stinks not winning, but there's so many positives to look back on. And I'm going to reference that same team from last year when we were in Boston.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Like, think about that. They ended up losing, but they won so, like it was so good, someone eventually has to lose.
Yeah.
And they played so good.
And that's what I told them last year. 120 teams. We were 8-0, and we lost in the semifinals 2-1. So I looked at him after. I'm not mad. Like, of course I'm pissed. Like, I want to win too, but if you don't win this whole thing, you're going home pissed.
Right.
And it's okay to feel that way. But don't take away from all the positives. Don't take away from, the walk-off homer in the quarterfinals or the energy and the fun and, the team, we're going go-kart riding, across the street from the hotel. Like, those are the fun memories that these kids have an opportunity to make. Whereas we as coaches, if we always put the negative spin on it and talk about all the things we didn't do right to lose the semifinals, well, then you go home and you're miserable.
And you strip the kids of the joy of all the fun stuff and the memories. Because then you're making them think that that's not okay to be happy about those things because we still lost. It's like the journey was way cooler than, yes, that stinks. That was the end result, but we played 8 amazing games and guys played great.
The ride home would have been way cooler with a 5-foot trophy in the passenger seat, but
yeah, I'm sure.
It was a fun trip to look back on. And I just think coaches out there, you got to hear that and remember that the next time you have to give a post-game speech after losing a tough one after a really good week.
And I even think moms and dads, right? It's like, okay, your son got 0 hits, maybe went 0 for 3, but made 2 diving catches. You made the game-winning, diving catch, or you struck a kid out. Like, there's so much more to the game than just how many hits did you get. Because that's what everyone says now. It's like, don't define the game by how many hits you got. Maybe you barreled up 3 balls, you lined out, but made 2 sick plays on defense, and you scored a run, and you stole 2 bags. Like, there's so much more to the game. Like, so there's always something you can be like, wow, I'm proud of you for X, or not just, oh, we lost today. Like, it's
funny. I had a girl yesterday, and she's playing showcase ball now, college recruiting process, and she's talking about like the anxiety she has with all the coaches behind home plate. So I referenced Coach Wheeler. We had him on the podcast maybe a year ago, but he's at Penn State now. He was my college coach. And he talked about not caring if the kid fails when he goes to watch him play. Or if that coach is there watching you, they know you're good already. You don't have to go 3 for 3, right? And his perspective was, this kid's going to get on campus and fail a lot. So I don't mind seeing him go through a little bit of adversity. And I was trying to tell her, I really believe that if you can go into these showcases, and it might be 3 outs or 5 batters, it might be no scoreboard, but just try to compete and battle and grind and help your team win, your performance is going to be great. You're going to play like yourself. But if you go in there and you're like, oh man, I'm 0 for 3 today, coach is watching, they're not going to like me, they're there because they know you're good. Is she aggressive? Is she on time? Is she a good teammate? Is she carrying a bat at bat with her out onto the field? So going in with that perspective is so much better. Like you just said, like, did I help my team win? I might not have gone 3 for 3, but I played great defense. I got a couple dirt ball reads on the bases. I scored us a couple runs. I'm picking girls up as they're walking on and off the field. Like, that's being a good teammate, and that's the kind of culture that these coaches want to build at the next level. They don't need a bunch of 500 hitters that are all worried about their own accolades.
And they're rah-rah when they do good, but they're sitting on the corner of the dugout. And I think that you strip yourself of your real characteristics and your real traits when you are worried, right? Like, you can't be yourself and cheer other people on and be excited and have high energy when you're worried about doing something wrong. And they're going to see right through that and be like, she's just not the one. Instead of...
Well, we've all got a couple of them. I had to get on a player this weekend. He struck out, and we got a big 2-out base hit. The guy after him picked him up. We got 2 runs. The whole dugout's picking him up except him. I'm like, dude, you should be in the front of that line, giving him a high five, picking me up because you just took strike 3. But no, he's still complaining that he thought it was down, and I had to get on him, and it got pretty heated for, I would say, 30 seconds, and then he made a good play on defense, and like any other 14-year-old, it's like, oh, switch
gone.
Yeah.